Well, can't say you weren't warned. You watch Cyber Bulls anytime, 2 months ago, a month ago, last week, you knew what was going to happen. Let's get into it. This one is kind of, for those who like math, a bit of a math story, but one of the things that I love to do is follow the money. And there are countless reasons why assets may go up. But one factor I've studied over years, decades, is the impact of money flow on assets. And way back, you remember 2021, I calculated the Bitcoin IA multiplier. It was 21 based on a certain transaction made by Elon Musk. Very bizarre. I'm going to take that same methodology and try to calculate the size of the multiplier for the Tesla buy and what that could mean for other money flows coming into the asset as well. And again, how I look at inflows and create this multiplier, I'm going to spread it all out for you, and how the dollar compounds to drive actual results, and how other forces can play a role, like short squeeze, etc., copy trades, allocations from S&P 500. But when you have something happening like this in a short window of time, you can measure it very precisely. And I've tracked it across different assets over time: Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, now Tesla. I've also tracked it for things like the impact of MicroStrategy buys and Bitcoin ETFs. So let's get into the story. This will be a fun one. And we'll also talk a bit about the macro. And by the way, Tesla's running as we speak. So a short prayer for the shorts. And let me see. Big thank you to Patreon too. This from Hunkim Tutorials. James and his team's research into crypto and AI is second to none on YouTube. Woohoo, thank you for that. If their work has helped change your life, show some love by buying them a beer through Patreon, or buy your friend a beer. Take care of everybody. That's always need to say. And of course, not financial advice. Big thank you to the mods in the chat: TND, Tesla, Sean D, and K8. Let's talk about this one as well. I shared this a week or two ago at this stage. I said, what happens to Tesla after a rate cut? The answer is it goes up. In 2020, after rate cuts, it went up 270% in 336 days. In 2024, we had a mini false start of rate cuts, went up 141% in 123 days, or each one averages just under 1% in gainings a day, which is massive. Tesla today is up 5.38 on a bit of a mixed day across the board. Bitcoin went up and then it went down. Now it's coming back up again. It's weird. But anyway, let's get into the story. What happened? Okay, what happened? Well, we found out on Monday that Elon Musk dropped $1 billion into Tesla stock. And it went up 6% on the news. But that's not what concerns us. But he bought $1 billion, exactly, pretty much to the penny, of Tesla shares. He did it on the open market. For about 4 days, he was the second richest man in the world. Larry Ellison took over, but now Oracle has mean reverted and Tesla's gone to the moon. So Elon is now the richest man in the world again. Shout out to the Pope, if anybody knows what that's about. Anyway, and this also coincided with the pay package. And last time he bought stock was in Feb 2020. Of course, he had to sell some stock to buy Twitter to save the planet as well, for the importance of freedom of speech, but we're not going to go there in this one today. Let's look at the actual transactions. We get into the numbers. Stock purchase, too small to read, but if you want to pause and zoom in, you see them there. The big point is, it was kind of nuts. The transaction, okay, the breakdown of it, I looked at all the different pieces, put them in a spreadsheet. 2.569 million shares of Tesla in 25 open market transactions. Now, if you want to move $1 billion and you want to buy Bitcoin or Tesla, this is not how you do it. But you do if you don't care, okay? If you're not trying to keep the price minimum lid on the price, you don't care, just throw it in there. And we'll show you exactly what happened. When he did this, the price shot from $371.90 to $396.359 per share. I spent exactly $999,959,042 to get this 2.6 million shares approximately. And people think, oh, he's just buying these shares so he has more voting power. No, it doesn't move the needle for how many shares he has. Okay, it's a nothing burger. So that's definitely not the reason. I think he just did it just to mess with people. And also because he believes in the future and he knows he can execute against his comp plan, which is, is a 10x for you at least, maybe more. But when we look at stock purchase history, These are the largest open market insider purchases since Tesla went public in 2010. And that's Elon, $1 billion. That was on Friday. 25 million in 2018, 10 million 2020, 10 million 2018 again. Joe Gebbia bought $1 million, and Larry Ellison bought $950,000 in Feb 2020. By the way, that Feb 2020 was actually a bad time to buy, because in March 2020, that was a delicious time to buy. We're not going to go back there. But also, this is the largest stock purchase ever. And I'm getting to a point here, so bear with me. But the largest, by a huge factor, was Elon Musk, $1 billion. And as Nick says, Elon is on another level. The second biggest ever, 339 million. And after that, 50 million. So it was a massive buy. Now let's look at what happened to the asset itself. Tesla has jumped into the top 10 top assets out there. NVIDIA is number one. Of course, per the comp plan, Tesla has to turn into 2x NVIDIA, which means $8.5 trillion. We'll see when he gets there. And also, what's interesting too, when you look at when insiders buy versus when insiders sell, a little bit of secret sauce you need to know. First of all, Mary Barra, we know last week, dumped 40% of her General Motors stock. She's very, very bullish on the company. Not Dara, the CEO of Uber, just dumped 21% of his stock, just reported today. So basically, when you are dumping a stock of the company that you run, it means you already know it's dying. Okay, you can take a little bit off the top to pay taxes or buy a yacht or something. But when you dump those extreme amounts, you know your company is soon going to become a zombie. And that's just the reality. But the corollary is also true. Buying stock in your company is a sign of extreme confidence in your company. Okay, somebody who has a lot of it already and then throws another $1 billion at it, it's mad. So let's get into the multiplier. Why you're all here, the math behind this. And I'm going to go through some historical examples to show you I'm not blowing hot air. This is the IA multiplier, which people have challenged me on for years, but yeah, I know because I've done it so much. It's actually pretty darn accurate, give or take a couple of digits. Now, when Elon and Tesla bought 42,000 Bitcoin in 2021, they dropped $1.5 billion. Average price of Bitcoin was $34,722 per Bitcoin, and they sold some of it for a profit. But the point was, at that time, I backed into the impact of that buy using on-chain data and money flow and the delta in market cap and the number of circulating tokens. And I calculated, bizarrely, the factor was 21 in the year 2021. So if you drop $1 billion into an asset, it will increase the market cap of that asset by $21 billion. And back then, Bitcoin was a lot smaller than it is today. There are more tokens circulating, the price is higher, et cetera, et cetera. You get the math. Now, I've also done this for other assets. Solana digital asset treasuries, DATs, they call them now, are on fire. You don't need to know the detail, but I do track all of the amounts for UPEXI, DeFi Dev, and now Forward, and they are buying a lot. Now, just taking these buys in isolation, we know the retail investor is not buying that much because they don't have that much money. And the retail investor, if you're part of this channel, you bought a long time ago under the price of $20. That you know too. But if you do take into account, the ETF flows are negligible because it's only been around a short time. But if you do take into account these big treasury companies, and only looking at 3 of them, they have purchased 8.2 million Solana. They've done it all pretty much since June. Okay, the Sol market cap in June was 71 billion. Now, when I did the math on this, it was 128 billion. So the total amount spent, the average price of all those different transactions is 1.8 billion. And the increase in market cap is $57 billion. Therefore, you could construe the multiplier is 32. It's funny because I did a video on the Sol multiplier and the impact of the 11 Sol ETFs. What will happen if $1 billion, if $10 billion flows in, if half the amount what flew into Ethereum goes into these things, the price goes to the moon. We're talking, well, check that video yourself if you want to see it. It's bonkers. But this actually is pretty sandbagged because remember as well, a large amount of Solana is staked. So when you try to move $1 billion into this asset, you got to make people sell. And they're not going to sell before the banana zone. At least I certainly am not. Anyway, that's this one. I calculated the same thing for the ETH flows, okay? Tom Lee bought 2.15 million ETH. He now has 1.78% of the supply, and this is in Bitmain. The average price, 3,530. Total buy, $7.569 billion. The ETFs followed him, okay? The ETFs, before he began buying, had 14.6 billion in asset under management. Now they have 40 billion. The amount of flows that have gone into ETH is 25.559 million, call it $26 billion. And the total inflow now between these two, between the Tom Lee buy and the ETF flows, and there's probably a lot of other stuff too, is 33.2 billion. Okay, I just be conservative. I just took those. I didn't go to the gaming company, whatever it's called. Anyhow, the market cap increase went from 542 billion to 291 billion. That's an increase that nearly doubled, 251.3. And the ETH multiplier, I don't know how it got cut off there, is 7.61. The ETH multiplier is a lot less than the Sol multiplier of 32. And remember, the Bitcoin multiplier is 21. I want to try to get to what the Tesla multiplier is as well. So maybe the ETH multiplier is low because a lot of long-term holders sold into that rally. The chart also represents that too. A lot of people took profits near 5,000. That was it. Once an asset, you wait for 4 years for it to get back to an all-time high. You missed it last time around. You see it again. You take that opportunity. That's human nature. That's just what they do. Now let's look at the Tesla multiplier with a surprise. This is exciting. You can tell I'm excited anyway. This is, hang on a second. I got to get this right. Yeah, sorry, the dog was doing stuff again. All right, Elon bought $1 billion in stock in the open market in one day. Market cap before the buy was $1.15 trillion. The market cap close the next day was $1.236 trillion. And the change in market cap is $84.68 billion. Call it 84.7. That's also your multiplier. Crazy to think about. Now, after that little dramatic pause, this is where things get a little bit weird. Okay. Now we have, I lost my little screens. What happens if something else goes astray? And apologies for a second. What's wrong with this thing? Here. Yeah. All right. Dog has been very, very bad. Okay. That's why I've been distracted twice. Apologies for that. Next time I'll make sure she has a chewy toy and not try and chew other things. Okay, let's get back to the story. This is the big thing here. This is the surprise of what happens. It gets better because that was just the data for one day after what happened on the subsequent days. And that's what I want to get into. So if you look at the math here on this little table, you can see the what I call the Tesla Delta market cap 2 days after the buy. Okay, so nothing happened on 9/11. 9/12, the $1 billion was purchased. Market cap went up $85 billion. 9/15, the Monday, the market cap went up $44 billion. And 9/16, the market cap went up another $36 billion. If you add those together, again, it's a stretch here, but you could argue the multiplier is 165x. But I think there's other reasons for it going up beyond only the first day action. That's pretty clear why that happened. But after that, you have people either getting short squeezed, allocations to funds, hedge funds chasing, people allocating, people getting FOMO, you know, all the people that sold at the bottom, maybe trying to get back on the train. We're not sure. But if you do just take into account the impact of that $1 billion buy, okay, that added $165 billion to the market cap of Tesla. Okay, and let's look at the price again. So I want to make sure I get these numbers. The stock price went from $368.81 to $421.62. Now it's at $427.50. So it's gone up even more. So 3 days after, if I did this for 4 days after, it'll be even higher. And I wanted to give it a day or two to settle to make sure things didn't mean revert, but it looks like we're in a different trajectory as well. And again, to remind you all, rates were just cut. When rates get cut, this is a very rate-sensitive stock. People can now afford more car, and they will do more. They'll buy more. Companies can do more. They can buy more too. And a little bit of other news after that insane levels that I just proved that the multiplier for a $1 trillion asset is higher than it was for Bitcoin, Solana, and Ethereum. Wild. Other news about Tesla, in case you missed it, FSD is going global. You can see here they are now launching to our friends in Australia and New Zealand. FSD, people can now sit in their car and do other things, as well as China, US, of course, Canada, Puerto Rico, and Mexico. And the rollout is going to become fit, fast, and furious too. I just hope European regulation will allow our European friends to access this technology, because it's pretty unfair that they don't right now. And other crazy news that just happened over the past few hours. I saw this at 2 or 3 a.m. this morning. It blew my mind. Elon Musk now believes XAI, okay, Grok 5 could reach artificial general intelligence levels before Christmas. And that's something he never thought before. And the reason this comes out is because it just, Grok 4, not the version that they're going to launch soon, the older version that we've been on, smashed all AGI benchmarks, absolutely destroying all other models on ARC tests. Not only doing a lot more, doing it better, doing it cheaper, and I think almost doing it faster too. And this is why the government, US government, now wants to become, and I touched on this briefly yesterday, this is Amy Soller, who is formerly from the government, and NVIDIA has joined XAI to bring this intelligence closer to the government, so the government can run like a mini Palantir thing. It's like maybe profile certain types of shady characters and identify trends that are happening, or even scuttlebutt that's happening on the internet or whatever else. It's unbelievable what's at our fingertips. And artificial general intelligence is coming soon, everybody. It's terrifying and exciting all at the same time. And with that, I want you all to meet Meme du jour. Welcome the new next Fed chair from Tesla Facts. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a great honor to announce the next Fed chair, Jerome Optimus. The fact that it takes 420 PhDs to do what they do is just the most inefficient and ineffective organization I've ever seen in the world. Anyway, that was the IA multiplier. I will continue to calculate IA multipliers as we go forward. It's also very interesting, the impact of S&P 500 additions. I've also calculated those in the past too. So if the day ever comes where MicroStrategy is added to the S&P 500, that'll have a big impact too. So thank you all for coming. Shout out to B-Man, Nunaluk, Rusted Woods, Adam Q, GQ Trader, Panda, Johnny Godcandle. Yeah, a couple of Godcandles coming your way very soon. Max Grease, Akonda, and a big thank you once again to TNT Tesla, K8, Sean Donnelly, and everybody else. And people from all over the world. That was the multiplier. And I knew it was big. I didn't quite think it would be that big. Hope you enjoyed the show. I'll see you all tomorrow. What day is tomorrow? Thursday. That's always a fun day. Thursday is AI Impact. Yep, it's back again. Thank you. Good night.